All right, welcome back. Today I'm going to continue my book review on Think and Grow Rich, and I'm going to be talking about the fifth step to riches, which is imagination. Okay, so I'll go through things that how this book has profoundly impacted my life. If you guys are just tuning in right now, I quit the corporate world after 10 years. I was in a finance function, and I pretty much chose a career that was chosen for me. I had no interest in it, but I went into it because of fear-based belief systems, and I thought that I could make a living out of doing something that I didn't love, and it's not the case, right? So during that time, I built up a real estate portfolio, and then once the real estate portfolio took off, I quit my corporate job, the corporate world, and now I'm doing other stuff like managing my rental properties, and that rental property is enough to feed my family, etc., and keep me afloat. So today I'm doing something a bit different. I noticed that a lot of people that come to YouTube are visual learners, so I decided to put my thoughts on a mind map. That way, my thoughts could be more organized, and at the same time I can show you guys some visuals at the same time. Okay, so bear with me. I'm just kind of learning this whole online business of just online YouTubing and all this stuff. So so thank you for being a part of this journey. Let's get into it. Think and Grow Rich, imagination. Okay, so the book starts off by talking about how most men limit their use of imagination, right? They said that it's available to everyone, but it's only a few of the men in this world that actually use it and tap into it to make much use out of it. And I have a quote here from Albert Einstein, and it's pretty significant about what he says about imagination. Okay, he says, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." And in my life, on my journey, I found this to be very, very true. I was a very logical thinker. I used to think in steps. I used to think in, tiers, etc. But now I don't think like that, because I know that in the infinite world, it's quantum leaps, right? And that's what imagination is. Imagination is the use of the power on the other plane, other dimensions of thinking that make you create hunches, make you create ideas, etc. And then finally you can materialize everything that you imagined into this world. Okay, so imagination is very powerful. Right? So let's close that. Let's continue into more details about what imagination is. Okay, so Napoleon Hill describes imagination as the workshop in which all man's plans are created. And what he means by that is that everything is created in a different dimension before it comes onto this planet, onto the material world, right? If you believe in the ether, if you believe in infinite intelligence, you would understand what I mean. So manifestation happens first at the spiritual realm, and then it happens here. Okay, so via imagination, desire is given shape. So you're given that energy of feeling of something that you want, and then you take action towards that designation, right? Or towards that destination. Sorry. So imagination is what natural forces, and that's what nature uses, right? Nature uses natural laws as well, and if we tap into it, we can make use of that same natural law. Once again, few men have used this natural law, and the ones that have used it for tremendous things, like creating airplanes, the Wright brothers, and telephones, like the Bell inventor as well. So when you look at the natural forces, you can clearly see, for example, Elon Musk in today's society, he imagined electric cars, for example, right? He imagined that, and he was able to bring it into fruition. He knew that there was a need for electric vehicles, and he brought it into fruition. Now, was this technology always available? Yes, it was, but it took someone with courage and that sense of imagination to bring it onto this plane, and that's what he uses. He used the natural force of imagination. Napoleon Hill describes two types of imagination. One is synthetic, the other one is creative. So when he talks about synthetic, it's something that I alluded to before, which was logical. 1 + 1 = 2. It already exists, right? So it's already here. You don't have to create anything new. It's synthetic. It means that it already exists. And this is the type of imagination that's most commonly used, right? What you're particularly doing is you're taking old concepts and you're putting it into new ways, and you're organizing them in different combinations to get you the result that you want. So let's think about some synthetic imagination. So for example, I'll give you where it applied in my life. So, when I was younger, I always wanted to be rich. always wanted to be wealthy. And when I read most books, most successful entrepreneurs that were wealthy, they built a real estate portfolio. So already I'm thinking about using synthetic imagination because I'm already copying what exists. So what I did was I went to a lot of meetup groups, real estate meetup groups, and they taught me what was possible. So I was already using knowledge that existed in this plane to create something for myself. In other words, I copied a system that someone else had, and I tailored it to myself so that it can work for me. Okay? The second type of imagination is a bit more difficult. It comes from the spirit world. It's the creative factors of everything, right? So this is why people visualize and fantasize, etc., to get ideas from the ether to come into fruition. So using visualization and fantasizing is a way of you tapping into that right brain thinking to, download information for you. And it's going to come from the spirit. So the spirit will give you hunches, and that's what intuition is. And intuition is used to create something. Okay. So new ideas are formed. For example, let's say Thomas Edison. Okay, let's talk about Thomas Edison when he invented the light bulb. Okay, so he tried so many different ways. I think it said that he failed like 10,000 times or whatever, but he tried so many ways to make the incandescent light bulb work. He was trying to figure out the material needed to make that light stay on for the longest time, because a lot of the other lights would burn out really quickly. So he pretty much tapped into his subconscious, and he was sleeping one day, and then in a dream, the vision came to him of what needed to be done. And essentially what he did was he connected those dots together, and he created the incandescent light bulb. So that's the use of creative imaginations, tapping into your subconscious, tapping into the spirit world to give you the answers that you need. And most people don't use this, right? It's like a muscle. You have to build it. It's available to all of us, but most people don't use this, right? It's communication with infinite intelligence. Okay, so once again, imagination, you can use imagination by exercising your imagination regularly. You can build just the same thing as you building a muscle. If you can use it for your goals, you can visualize the end in mind of the thing that you want. And when you use imagination to create these things, your subconscious mind is going to tap in, and it's going to give you solutions and hunches and intuition for you to follow. It happened to me. That's exactly how I was able to get out of the corporate world, or else I'd still be in there. If I didn't use my imagination to create the reality that I wanted for my life, I wouldn't be here, right? So the way that you tap into use imagination is while you plan. You write out your desire, what it is that you want to achieve, and then you obtain it using your imagination. Once again, there's synthetic and there's creative. You're copying others, which is easier, or you're creating your own, which is more challenging. Every form of success exists. It's up to you on what you want to do with your imagination. You can create something that already exists in a different way, or you can create something brand new that has never ever been thought about. All right, so let's close this. That's imagination. Now, the author goes in to talk about ideas, right? He says that ideas or imagination leads to desires, which creates ideas and attracts ideas and resources to you. Okay, so I'm a firm believer of the law of attraction, and for this, I want you to think about something, right? I want you to think about a plant being planted in soil. I know a bit about this because this year I started gardening for the first time. Okay, for some reason I was just attracted to it, so I grew some plants. You leave it there in good environment, and the ether just takes care of everything itself. Okay, it's going to attract all the natural nutrients, the water, etc., that the plant needs, and before you know it, in 4 weeks, 5 weeks time, you have full-fledged plants. That's exactly how it works. Okay, so when you use your imagination, the imagination is going to create desires, and then when you put those desires into action, what happens is that the resources will be attracted to you. This is where a bit of the non-logical mindset comes in, right? Because a lot of people, the way that we're trained, including the school systems, is that we're trained in working in tiers. So what happens is that a lot of people that aren't successful, what they do is look at the lack of the things that they have, and therefore they never get started because it seems like an overbearing obstacle for them, right? So this is where you have to have faith. You have to have faith in that the idea that you have is going to come into fruition, and then you go ahead and take action without the resources, and then you start seeing how fast the resources come to you. This is what happened to me in my real estate adventure. When I was 23 or so, I started investing in real estate. I didn't have enough money to invest. I had some money, but I needed the resources from other people that could approve for the mortgage, etc. And I did that by tapping into my parents, asking them to do a joint venture deal with me, etc. And that's how we got started. Right? The resources come to you if you have an idea in place. Okay, these are natural laws. At the subatomic particle level, all the elements are moving together, vibrating at a certain frequency, and it's moving and it's getting stuff from the ether to come to you and translate that into physical matter. This is law of attraction. It's all energy and matter. This whole thing that we live in is energy and matter. So if you can figure out what type of energy you need to put out into the grid, vibrate at, you figure out that, being successful is very, very easy. It's just a state of mind, and it's a state of your vibrations. All right, going back to it, desire is a thought impulse. Once again, if you look at thought impulses and you're repeating your thoughts over and over again via affirmations, visualization, etc., what you're doing is you're rehearsing your neural connections to become strong in that sense. And this is where law of attraction comes from. Every thought is an energy bubble, and every energy bubble attracts different things to you. Thoughts create reality. Okay, so I just have a picture of your neural nets connecting different things together, and it just shows electricity going through your neural net within your brain. And this is how every thought is. It's all energy. It's all thought impulses. All right, perfect. Let's close that off. Let's move this over here. Now, burning desire and obsession. All right, so Napoleon Hill talks about this as well. He said that, when he had the desire to create, or Andrew Carnegie actually told him about about writing a book on success principles. At the start, Napoleon Hill didn't believe in himself, right? Because obviously it's a tremendous feat to study 25 years to get to something. It was just something that he was just like, I don't have enough money right now. I don't have enough resources. How am I going to get there, right? So along his journey, he had so much temporary defeat, right? A lot of self-doubt, beliefs, etc. But he started using the theories that he was proving himself by studying success to get him to that level. It took him 25 years to commit and write Think and Grow Rich. And he mentioned that ideas have power of their own, but action is required to keep momentum energy going. Okay, so I want you to think about this too, because in the law of attraction community, I've been in the spiritual space for some time now because I've been studying it. There's a lot of people that think that things are just going to fall into their laps. They think that law of attraction is going to attract things without them doing anything. This is far from the truth. The way that law of attraction works is you have to have the energy put out into this world to close the circuit, right? Think about energy coming down. You're getting feedback from the higher self, etc. And energy's coming down here, and you're trying to close the circuit, right? Which is grounding the information by taking action. So remember, I told you your beliefs create your beliefs create your emotions, which create your thoughts, and then your thoughts create the actions, etc. And that's how your reality is created, right? So if you don't take action in anything, that means you don't believe that that item that you're seeking is not coming into fruition. So there's a bit of law of attraction stuff going on there. I just wanted to clarify that as well. But yeah, that's burning desire and obsession. Okay, so once again, he overcame so many temporary defeats by believing in himself and making those ideas and committing to those by taking action on those ideas. Okay, now there's a section on the book about the clergyman. Okay, so this clergyman, apparently he wanted to start a school that would teach people, unsuccessful people, how to be successful. It's like, why wasn't this thought of for the longest time? And he himself fell for this too. He didn't do anything for 2 years. He was thinking about it, but he didn't do anything in terms of putting it in completing the circuit by putting things into action. He didn't do any of that stuff, right? So all of a sudden, one night he decided that, after 2 years of thinking, he's like, I'm going to turn this burning desire into action. And as soon as he decided to do that, what happened was he delivered a speech. And he was talking about the speech delivery that came with it. Like, as soon as he decided, that speech came into existence. He had a warm confidence that he was able to get the money to actually start this organization that he's been thinking about for 2 years, but didn't do anything about it. So, the clergyman went onto the mount and he started giving the speech, and he didn't even have his paper on him. Everything was from the subconscious mind, and everything just flowed naturally, right? So when he started believing in it so much, other people started believing in it and believing in it as well. So what happened was, I think I forgot his name, but it was the armor. Yeah, someone by the owner of by the name of Armor. I forgot the last name, but he provided the $1 million to the clergyman to get started on the Armor Institute of Technology, which was the vision that the clergyman had about teaching unsuccessful people how to be successful. Once again, he was thinking about this for 2 years, but once he finally decided to take action, then things started to roll, and he was able to, in a matter of like a week, he was able to produce results where he just decided and started to take action. Right? That's the story of the clergyman. Okay, so now 1 second, let me just move this around. Bear with me here. Okay, now let's talk about the Coca-Cola story. All right. So Napoleon Hill talks about this, and he talks about the Coca-Cola story. So he mentioned that, there was an ingredient already, but it wasn't the finalized ingredient. There's one last ingredient missing. And the person that bought the recipe from this other person inputted one final idea into the special ingredient, right? But that idea came from the use of imagination. It was the secret formula that created the spark of the whole Coca-Cola revolution, right? So once again, it shows that if you use your imagination, you can create the solutions that you want, right? So once again, the special ingredient was the idea, not the actual ingredient itself. Okay, so what am I trying to get at with this? And I'll give you an example from my real estate investing career. So when I invested in real estate, once again, I didn't have the money, but what I had was the idea of investing in real estate. And once I got the idea, the resources came to me really, really quickly. So money is infinite. There's a lot of money. Money is spirit, just like everything else. And there's a lot of money going around in today's society. You can get the money considering that you have an amazing idea that you can use that money for. It'll be given to you, right? And that's what it is. It starts with someone with a keen sense of imagination to start that idea. Once again, that's the Coca-Cola story. All right. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say about Think and Grow Rich and imagination, which is the 5th step to riches. Yeah, I like this format a lot better. I think I'm going to continue ahead to do mind mapping because I'm able to communicate it in a more succinct way by sitting down and just speaking to you guys. So I will leave it at that. I will come back with another episode continuing on Think and Grow Rich. Once again, that's Sen Vivek signing out.